for the network problem we have. So we are talking about waiting or trusting God in times of family challenges. And I have tried to make us understand that we cannot avoid challenges. They will always be there. Life situations will always occur. Things will never be smooth or seamless all the time. And this is to let us know that there are seasons of life. The Bible says in Ecclesiastes chapter 3 that there is time for everything. So there is time to rejoice, there is time to mourn, there is time to relax, there is time to celebrate, there is time to for everything. There's time to be born, there's time to die. And these realities, we cannot wish them away. And that's what we need to prepare ourselves for. And I try to explain to us that this topic we are talking about is not just about building our faith, but its impact in our parenting journey, in our family, in our children, its significance in raising children who will thrive. Because as a family, when we raise children who are able to go through challenges with us and they are trained in trusting God through the process, we are able to raise children who will understand that life don't happen the way they wish. We are able to raise children who will not be entitled. We are able to raise children who will not take drastic decisions because they are not able to wait. We are able to raise children who will go through stress and pressures of life without throwing in the towel. We will raise children who will be able to face challenges heads on without compromising or giving up, without going into depression and committing suicide. So, trusting God is not just a matter of faith for us, it's also a matter of training, grooming, and building children who will be strong enough to fight for their destinies. So, when we talk about trusting God as a family through challenges, we are talking about building a family that will be able to fight challenges of life while in the process raising children who will be groomed to stand firm and strong in defending their destinies. Some of us, we go through challenges and we don't carry our children along, so they don't understand that life challenging dealing with life challenges is not just about them, it's also about helping their children grow to understand how to face challenges and how to thrive. So it's important that as a family, when you are going through troubling times, that you let your children understand what is happening. It's also important that you model maturity in that process. You take them through every phase, how you are able to tackle the challenges, how you are able to process it, and that also requires emotional intelligence. So you have to first build your own capacity, right? To be able to handle challenges properly and then raise children who will be able to do so. Some of us are raising children who are overly dependent, children who are reliant on us to make major decisions because we did not groom them to be able to think critically for themselves when they are passing through challenges. And how does it start? Is it when there's a big trouble? No, it's on the daily activities of our children. That a child is making a decision, you are going ahead of this child to interfere, to interrupt, to help. When this child need to make their own mistake, little mistake, and learn from it. So your child is doing something and you feel like he's struggling, you are reaching out to help this child. When is the time to allow this child to face his own challenge? and logically reason himself out of it and come out with results. So your child is trying to cut a shape. You are holding her hand, let me cut it for you. When it is the time to allow him to figure it out. So in this topic of trusting God, we'll be learning how perceptions are determined by the challenges we face, and then how it affects the family system, right? We love our children. No, I don't think there's any reasonable parents that don't like their children. You won't pass through that process of conception and delivery of a child, the pain you bear, to now not love them. But the truth is that sometimes we overlove them. We love them more than we should. What do I mean? When you you interfere or interrupt their process of becoming, their process of building capacity, their process of growing strength, tenacity, and grit, because you love them too much to help them too much. So some of us, we don't allow our children to lack. We don't allow them to suffer. We want to give them easy life. And some of us, our excuse is that I know what I suffered, so I don't want my children to suffer. Okay. But do you realize that there are times when you will lack capacity to help them? There are times when you will not be there. There are times when you will be no more. Yes. It's a difficult thing to accept, but we will never live forever. The question you ask yourself, are you building your children to thrive in your absence? Are we raising children who can stand, defend themselves, and thrive when we are no more there? So some of us, we think, okay, they are too small. We can, but do you realize that building children who can stand in their generation starts from now, whatever age your child is? By those little things you go through with them every day, or you allow them to process by themselves. So sometimes I allow my children to just be moving ahead when we are walking on the road. It's not because I am careless, it's because I want them to be able to move, do things for themselves, so that when I'm not there, they won't hide under the shadow of other people. Most times, the security we put over our children is not for us to put. It's God that does that security. Even though we put measures in place, we protect them. But let's not overprotect our children in such a way they are not able to think through for themselves when they face challenges. Sorry, I don't want to move away from the topic today. So we are talking about that life challenges will happen. You cannot wish it away. The things we can do is building capacity, learning to trust God in the process, and learning to raise children who will be able to trust God, who will be able to think through, who will be able to exercise patience and not rush into decisions and choices that will terminate their destinies and opportunities. So, we talked about, I will just take us through how difficult seasons can affect our perception. So we're saying that sometimes these difficult seasons we are talking about can be in form of financial pressure, it can come in form of broken engagement, divorce, conflict among parents or even among siblings, right? Delayed answers to, maybe you are trusting God for something as a family and answer is not coming. And your children are looking at you to see how you exercise your faith, to see how you are able to stay calm in the midst of the storm. to see how you will run kitty kitty kata kata like someone confused trying to find solution by all means. So you see some of us that when we are facing challenges, we are looking for solution from our pastors or prayer houses or even native doctors. Your children are coping. Your ability to face challenges without compromise is being absorbed by your children. But if you are that type that when something happens, a challenge happens, and you are doing everything, you are compromising, you don't care. Your own is to get the answer. You are teaching your children desperation. You are teaching your children that they can do anyhow or anything as far as they get results. You will raise entitled children who think that they are not born to wait. They are not born to be patient. They should have anything they want to have, no matter how, no matter whose horse is God, no matter whose life is detrimented. So whatever we are doing when we have challenges is being transcended down to the next generation and is a legacy we are building, right? So not just teaching your children patience. Your children should be able to learn patience by looking at you, seeing you, learning from you the way you handle situations. So when we talk about emotional intelligence, it's not just about our feelings. It goes beyond that to our day-to-day engagement. The daily choices, the daily decisions, the daily engagement we have, not with our children, both our environment and the external people, because our children can sense it. So when we face even health challenges, conflicts, how do we handle it? Those waiting season, when maybe you are trusting God for a contract and you come back, the contract didn't click, then you come back and your children are surrounding you, then you are everywhere, you are agitated, you are irritable because you are angry, your contract has not clicked. Your children are watching. How about you learn how to bring your children to the table and say, Daddy is trusting God for this contract. Can we pray about it? Even that praying as a family have a way of calming you down, right? Of course, nobody says you should share details with children you know they are not matured enough. But if you have matured children that you've raised well, they can even give you a clue. They can even give you an idea that when you are sending a proposal for a contract, because you have built them to that capacity, not just sending them to university, they are able to help you put through your proposal in such a way that it will stand out. So, as a family, we must learn to collaborate, to work together, trusting God in every process we are going through. So, we want to, like I said, realize that every challenge we have is part of our life seasons, is part of the processes God takes us through. So you will see some seasons are for planting. So you see those seasons when you're having enough, you're having a lot. It is not to consume and waste. It's not to throw around. Nobody say you should not be generous, but it's not the time to give out everything you want. It is the time for planting. So you have a season for healing. Sometimes you will be broken, you will be disappointed. There are times that calls for healing. Things will not be going on the right way. In fact, you are shattered. So God is calling you at that point to heal so that you will be strong and healthy enough for the next phase of life. There are seasons for stretching. God can drag you, stretch you, weave you, sieve you, beat you, eh? And mold you. Those times are the times of making, preparing you for where He's taking you. Some of us, if we share our experiences, where we are coming from, you will never imagine that we will be where God has brought us today. So no matter where you are, just know that there is a greater height. There is a higher place, and there is a brighter future. Because the word of God said that the path of the just shines brighter and brighter unto a perfect day. So if you are trusting God in that season of trial and challenge as a family, be rest assured that God will process you in that season and will bring you forth. But the question is, are you allowing God to do His work in your life at that point? Because some of us waste our seasons of making, our seasons of stretching, our seasons of preparation, because we want it hot, hot. We want it sharp, sharp, like Indomie. We just want to put it in water, mix it with the already made ingredients, and just bring it out to eat. But life does not happen like that. And if God must bring you to a level of great height to stand with kings and not mean men, there must be a place of preparation. There must be a place of molding. There must be a place of making. But some of us don't want to wait for that season of making. We want to shine. We want people to see us. But how will people see you when you still half-baked? How long can you last if we are unprepared? If we are half-baked? If we are unsharpened? How sharp can your knife be to cut the edges of what and challenges that will come your way as God is taking you high? I'm sure we are used to the adage that says, how do they put it? More height, more demon. You know what I'm talking about, right? Like the higher you go, the more challenges. Because you is it's believed, and it should be, that before you get to a certain height, you would have been able to build capacity to hold you up there. But unfortunately, we still have people who might have been recommended or promoted by their kinsmen. You know what I'm talking about? By what you call imamad, like people that know you, connection. But you are not prepared for that position. But due to connection, and some of us that like have what do you call it, cut, like, you know what I mean, like following backyard. But life will test and try what has been built inside of you. And this is where it's very critical, because it's not just about you as a parent, but about your children. No raising children who, due to maybe your connection, will rise up but will be crushed because they were unprepared. So it's our responsibility to begin to consider, how do we raise children who will not want to follow shortcuts, who will be prepared to face life alone? Because I don't know if it's in this video I've said that life will always happen. We will not live forever. Whether we like it, or as much as we don't like hearing it, that we will die one day. But the question is, how do we raise children who will thrive in our absence? That is the end result of effective parenting. That you're able to raise children who will remain standing in righteousness, godliness, who will remain responsible, moral credibility, even when you are not there. It starts from here, wherever you are, whatever age your child is. You are the one who owes your child that responsibility. And that's why sometimes we hear my coach will say that you are the destiny of your child. No child will outgrow those who raised them. So there was an insight she shared as I was listening to her today. And she said, if Joseph was not taken out of his family, he might not have been able to get to that height of fulfilling his dream. So God orchestrated it in such a way that he has to separate him from his family. It's not like the family will kill him. It's not like um he will not be able to have opportunity to be a prime minister. No, it's that because the same parenting that raised his siblings would have affected him almost the same way. And if you realize the way he took on his siblings, whenever he dreams, he will come and tell them, I dreamt you bow to me. And even the father started getting angry with him. So he might have had a lot of pride in him, which he may not really consciously have known or acknowledged, but it's just in him. So that process of the selling him and becoming a servant in Egypt and all that might have been the process God used to break those tendencies in him while building his capacity to take the position of prime minister. So some of us, when we are facing challenges, do we go Jehovah sharp way? Let's find solution. Going through every corner of shrine or or prayer houses, looking for those that will pray for us or lay hands that we don't know if it's anointed or anointing hands. Hmm? Seeking answers and solutions, paying, bribing people. Your children are learning because you can't even give what you don't know, what you don't have. You can't tell them not to do what you are doing because they are seeing it. They are seeing how you have to go and bribe a lecturer to pass them. They are seeing how you have to go and pay to get admission for them, even though they didn't meet the cutoff mark. They are seeing how you are paying special center for them to pass their WAEC and their JAMB. And these are critical matters of life. Because the question is, how do you even expect that child to go to school and pay attention without having the second option of sorting himself out or herself through money or the selling the body to lecturers? So sometimes we say we raise responsible children, we are disciplined, but these things we don't see them as indiscipline. And that's how we raise children who will pay themselves, pay their way through school and bring certificate to you, but up there nothing is there. That is how we raise children who will not take responsibility for failing because they have to pay their way off and forget the failure. Children who don't realize that there is a price to pay to rise up in destiny. How will they rise up when they don't have what it takes to pay the price? They don't have the grit. They don't have the tenacity. They don't have the patience. They don't have the will to sacrifice, to walk through to their success. Children who prefer pleasure than to give in to paying the price of victory. So we need to really be very diligent and see that challenges are moments of training, not just for us, but also for our children. So when you are in that painful moment, stress, pressure, uh, difficulty, confusion, remember, I am grooming the next generation, even in these times and seasons of challenges. And if you are in this live session and you have not shared to a family, I don't think you love them. So kindly share, subscribe, and invite someone, because these are critical matters that we raise children and we wonder how they turn out the way they are, without realizing that those decisions we are making every day of our life, we are molding them into becoming who they become. And you see, sometimes we don't picture the outcome of all these things, but we need to begin to ask ourselves, this thing I'm doing today, these baby steps, what kind of giant figure will it raise? These things I'm doing today, and I think they are nothing, what kind of children will my children grow up to become if I continue this way? So some of us know the type of children we want to raise, what we wish to see in them, but we don't take conscious effort to monitor and put in place the right actions, the right structures that will give you that outcome. How can you want to raise a giant? Eh? And you are on a daily basis giving your children just tea and bread. How can tea and bread raise a giant? So how can you want to raise children who will thrive, who will stand out in their generation? And all you are conscious about is school, school, school. How many people who came out in university are very dependent, thriving, building companies, and successful? How many? They are there. But check, most of them that are there is beyond just academic exposures. There were a lot of things that we are put in place that we may not be able to take in stock, because maybe data we are not collected. But most of them, you see, come from a family that understand that beyond academic, we are raising children who are called to rule, to build, to take a stand and make decisions that affect generations. Who are you raising? And what decisions are you taking, even during challenges? And would you sit back and imagine that this is the thing or the right thing you would want your children to be in the future? So some of us, fathers, women, that will be cheating their partners, doing all those nonsense. Would you want your daughter to grow up to become that kind of irresponsible daughter? Would you want your daughter to marry a man that will break their heart the way you are breaking the heart of your wife? Would you want your children to grow up frustrated in marriage with the type of marriage you and your partner are raising? Or you think it doesn't affect parenting, like it's not part of parenting? Would you want what you are going through today to be the same experience of your children? What can we do differently to raise children who have wisdom, who are discerning, who understand life, who knows that life is not butter and bread. So as they are coming up now, remember it's not about food and water. It's not about academic qualifications, but there is more to life. Their spiritual life, their emotional life, their mental life. Everything you must put in perspective. How can you raise children who will think for themselves? Who will build companies? Who will build organizations? Who will stand in political spheres? Not children who will depend on employment. We need to begin to think beyond that. You cannot raise children who will remain at your level, passing CVs, looking for who to employ them. How about we raise employers? But of course, it will not just be the same way we were raised, sending us to school, teaching us how to come out as good students so that we get a good job. There must be something we need to do differently to raise children who will be in the position of the prime ministers with wisdom, governors with perception, presidents with vision, not to fill their pocket, but to fill the lives of young people and generations that have been put into their hands to raise prospect. So we need to understand that there is danger in rushing God when we are passing through challenges and we are making drastic decisions. We are in a hurry, Jehovah sharp sharp. You realize that you will become anxious. Some of us be- become hypertensive. Hmm? Some of some people get sick due to life challenges. Some people lose their peace. The truth is that those tendencies are there. But how can we see that we don't allow life challenges to break us down? Trusting God. We cannot overemphasize on the benefit of trusting in a higher power beyond your capacity. Of course, trusting God doesn't numb your brain. It doesn't make you not to think, right? We've talked about all that and how you need to raise children that need to think for themselves so that they can make the right decisions when they are under pressure. But beyond that, we need to begin to realize that there is a higher power who, in the midst of all our wisdom and intelligence, is able to see us through. And when we come from that place and knowledge and perception, we are able to face life challenges in a settled dimension, in a settled mood, in peace. When your heart is at peace, you're able to think more straight. You are preserving your health while tackling the challenges. And you're able to think straight and get more results. Eh? You are able to also raise children who will be able to go through, who will be able to go through challenges in peace without being headache to you or to people around them. So I see us raise children who, even in university, are still dependent on us, dependent on their siblings. Eh? You see younger siblings that have been raised by older siblings becoming liabilities. How did we end up with raising children with that kind of mindset that after university they should still depend on their parents? when they are supposed to start thinking about their life, how to thrive, how to become independent. Like, if they are in university, why are they still depending on you a- and their elder, because they think they have elder siblings that should take responsibility over them? Because we didn't teach them to face challenges for themselves. We didn't teach them how to process their situation and come out with results. We make life easy for them. We provide for them when they ask, when their mates are making money, eh? Doing assignment for others, making hair, learning skills, doing buying and selling to generate money to take care of their needs in school. They will relax, watch football, watch Z World, watch the latest movie, go to parties, call you on weekend, mommy, I need so 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 amount, and you will dish out to them. Why would they stress themselves? We raise liabilities. So when challenges come, they are rushing God. The same way they rush us. The same way we rush. So when we rush God, we realize that we are not able to be realistic in our expectations. So because we know God is a miracle working God, we now want to rush God to do it sharp sharp, without realizing that some of that challenges is a time God is using to train us. So when we rush God, when we are not able to wait, we become exhausted, because sometimes our expectations are dashed. We think, oh, we wanted this so 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 time, so 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 way, and God did not answer us. Sometimes we get frustrated. We lose our trust. And sometimes we get exhausted trying to sort things out the wrong way. People take advantage of us in those states because they can see we are desperate. So anytime we are desperate, people tend to take advantage of us. And that's the truth. So a child emotional growth takes time. And this time happens through the process of our own emotion, the way we handle things, the way we feel. So those times emotion are being built. Their skills and capacity to handle life challenges are being built. So you need to realize that when you are going through challenge, your children are also being trained. You are training the next generation to face through challenges. So we'll be talking about evidence-based insight around building resilience, which is one of the skills, one of the virtues you build in your children when you handle challenges the right way. So the research around emotional resilience and family stability consistently show that families who practice patience, emotional regulation, and long-term perspective often navigate hardship more effectively than families driven by fear and urgency. Did we get that? This is a research. Families that handle challenges by practicing patience, emotional regulation, and long-term perspective. Often, what do we mean by long-term perspective? Seeing things ahead of time, seeing things in the future, like seeing the end from the beginning. Because I've said it, some of us we make decision without thinking of the end result. So families who look at the end result, they are able to navigate hardship more effectively than the Jehovah sharp sharp families, those who want it now 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 now. Eh? Those who want it now 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 now. Sorry, my so that's to say, if you want your family to be able to pass through challenges without breaking down, you need to begin to learn how to practice resilience, patience, emotional regulations when you are passing through challenges, because that is where you are building the next generation of children that will be able to pass through challenges without throwing in the towel, without breaking down, without shattering, without becoming a victim to predators. And that is how to raise children who will be able to thrive. Sorry, we need to rush. So, what does it really mean when we say trusting God? Now, when we say trusting God, and we need to be realistic, we are not saying you should pretend. We are not saying you should do like all is well. We are good with, how are you? I'm fine. When you are not fine. And we are good with uh washing our face, rubbing pancake, and wearing the most expensive clothes, even when we are dying inside. No, that is not what we mean by trusting God. What we mean by trusting God is, you are this thing is existing. This is a challenge. But you are going to sit yourself down while praying about it as a family. Remember, I say praying about it as a family, because if you do it alone, or husband and wife, and your children does not realize that there is a challenge in the family and we are part of the solution and we need to pray along, they may not understand what the problem is until it happens to them. So, realizing that this challenge is real, praying about it as a family